if you think about your health now, what little changes have you been telling yourself that you can make? Because we're also going into the new year, Garrett. People make the New Year's resolutions. A lot of those resolutions have to do with health and fitness. What didn't work for you last year that you need to make an adjustment this year to ensure that you can follow through with those resolutions and those goals that you have?
Welcome back to Life at 10/10s, where we inspire you to live at the pinnacle of your ability and purpose. Matt Pinelli is with me. As always, I am Garrett Fry, and we're going to talk about health today. We're going to talk about the importance of health and how it affects your business and how it affects your results. And we're following the distraction episode we just did, Matt, which also kind of plays into this because health is one of those things that can make you rise to the top. It can also tear you down to the bottom if your health gets the best of you. So I'm excited to go down this path. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm excited about this too because it's, of course, major health events can impact your business, but there's also just like minor little things that all of a sudden become a distraction. And whether you're consciously aware of it or not, they can impede how you show up for your business, Garrett.
It can be the littlest things from the we know with the people that we work with that it's like, dude, you're sick again? Like, where are you? Who are you hanging around? What are you doing? Like, what is causing you to always have this moment that you're like, oh, I got taken out this last weekend because I had another cold, and those things you can prevent that type of stuff. You can take care of yourself. You were just telling me, you're like, I'm not feeling the best right now. I'm not at my peak. And thank goodness I'm not drinking and doing this other stuff and I'm taking care of myself because this little ailment usually in the past might have taken me out.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think we sometimes feel like we have that much control over the simple cold.
Well, you look at people who say like, oh man, well, I was traveling and every time I travel, I get sick. Well, there's a mindset component there, but there's also like, well, how are you handling your health and nutrition and all the things when you go into these travel things, and what happens to your body when it receives stress? And I will say this too, we have a really exciting opportunity coming up in the new year where we are still baking this out because at the time of recording this, it's November. At the time of releasing this, it's at the end of December. So what I want you guys to do is message Garrett or I directly about this opportunity, and which is a health coaching opportunity built into what we do, and also an incredible event to understand your body, these health metrics, and get a customized plan created so that you can have great health or point your health in the right direction. Because I firmly believe, Garrett, and we've talked about this on prior podcasts before, but I believe if your health is pointed in a positive direction, your business is going to correlate with that as well. And we get comfortable in our, so reach out to us. It's going to be an incredible event. It's going to be in person.
Let me add in that Matt and I do a lot of coaching, business coaching. And if we pull this off the way that we want to pull it off, the way that we have envisioned, the way this could look, but we need enough people that are like, we're in on this. That's the only way it's going to happen. Yeah. This is bringing in an expert from the outside to actually do this. We've actually interviewed some people that have worked with this person and have done the health coaching with glowing results. Like literally, I couldn't have had a better phone call with the last person we talked to about this. So this is not Matt and I running a health coaching program or doing a health coaching session thing. This is a expert from the outside that has a program, proven results, very in-depth. We'd love to give you more information on it, but I just want people to know, like, this isn't just Matt and I going like, we want to coach health stuff. That's not us.
Yeah.
We found an expert.
Yeah. We're not making this up. This is a proven system. So I'll always say this, email us at hello@lifeattentenths.com. Just with health, or DM Garrett or I health on Instagram, and we'll share the details of the program, because at the time of this release, we'll have that stuff. And I'm glad you brought up the gentleman we talked to who's been doing this program for 18 months on his own, which is way more expensive than if you do it as part of a group, which is what we're going to be doing. And what I loved about him is he sounded like one of those guys who is in pretty okay shape. It's not like he needed to conquer this really difficult health situation, but by him just taking control of his health and he had tried all the diets and all the things, and he was probably would have been fine and like fine, okay, moving forward. But he now took control and he's accelerating his lifestyle. And he says he feels better than he's ever had in his entire life. And he did anecdotally say he feel like he is seeing some improvement in what he does for a living as well. He's not in real estate. And I said, well, that's exactly what we want to help people with, is we want to help people, because particularly in this business, Garrett, you know, there's a lot of stress that comes into this business. And if your body is also receiving stress from lack of care from a health and fitness perspective and a mindset perspective, the stressors of the business are only going to increase the overall stress on your body, which is going to impact your sleep. It's going to impact your energy. It's going to impact your mood. And all of those things come back and impact how you're able to perform in your business. And it may not be noticeable right away, but it's like, oh, well, that just removes that one extra call that you're making. And all of a sudden you're making 2 extra calls. All of a sudden you're just taking a whole day off because you're like, I need a mental health day because I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I'm burnt out. Well, if we can solve at least the health side so that your body can handle stress better, you're going to be able to perform better and then probably reduce the stress from the business side too, Garrett.
Well, and to put this into it also is that I think that we look at our health distractions as the major kind of places, like the major things that kind of come up. We get sick, we get injured, we get we get diagnosed with something that now we're going to go and have to handle and take care of. That's the stuff that we acknowledge and we can see at face value, that slaps you upside the face where you're like, oh my gosh, I need to go lay down for a little bit. I need to go stay in bed a little bit longer. But there's the other side of the health part, Matt, that you and I and all the experiments that we've done in just drinking more water, or eating differently, or cutting alcohol out, or all these places that we've gone down these paths, that it's the little things that you didn't know were causing you to go, I don't feel like going for the run this morning. By the way, that's you. That's not me. I don't go for runs in the morning. I'm living through you, Matt. But there's little things of like, I just feel a little off today. So instead of going like, I'm so excited to make my phone calls, I'm so excited to go for lunch with somebody, I'm so excited to set this up, that little dropped energy, which is your health telling you, hey, you know what? I don't really feel like it right now. And I'm a little tired. I'm a little worn out. I didn't sleep very well last night. It's those little teeny things that stop some of those little moments that could cause huge results in your business and in your life. And I think that's the stuff that's hard because you don't notice it on a day-to-day basis. It's not like getting a cold and being like, I think I have a temperature. Oh, my nose is running. Oh, my body aches. Like, it's different. It's the little things that make the biggest impact.
It really is. I think about how we structured our business planning this year. And when we were going through the session where we were doing the calendar, and you start looking at, okay, cross off the dates for all the fun things that you want to do, cross off these dates, what dates will you be half available? And all of a sudden you look at kind of your true available work days, which is way less than 365, by the way, and should be that way so you can have your lifestyle operating the way you want. It's like, okay, now let's just throw in, what if we have 10 sick days throughout the year where we literally can't work? You know, what does that do to how do we make that up on the rest of the days? And if we can eliminate those 10 sick days, like what does that do for our business?
Well, and here's the interesting thing too, Matt. Those 10 sick days, they don't discriminate whether they're just going to be on work days or they're going to be also on the days that we want to be with the people that we love, doing the things that we love to do. Like, you get to lose those days potentially. You get to lose what those days could potentially be. And it's not just work. Could be your work. We could use them all for, if you're using all your sickness days for work, we have another thing to talk about. It's like, I'm just conveniently sick on all the days that I am supposed to be working. Feel great though on family days.
Yeah, right. Well, I think it's interesting too, because like, yeah, you're not going to be able to eliminate certain ailments. Like, we can't necessarily control all that, but we can control the environment that allows ailments to take more control. Because like, okay, take 2 people who both get sick with something, the flu. One is able to recover quickly, one is not. The one who's able to recover quickly, 2 days out of work, back to it, and like, awesome, we're chugging along, we're making things happen. The other person, 2 days sick, and then 5 more days to get back up to a level of recovery where they feel like they can be at 100% performance. So it's not even just the days that you're out, it's the lingering days of certain health things. And like, you can even forget sickness. What about like that knee pain that you have? They're like, oh, it just gets you out of the car a little slower. The back pain that you're experiencing, which just kind of makes you like, I don't really want to get up and go over and do that thing right now. Those little things just slow you down enough that it compounds in a way that you can see that impact business year in, year out. And if you can resolve those things, or at least start pointing them in a different direction, because this isn't a one size fits all, boom, take, your health changes, tomorrow, but it goes in the right direction. Your business starts to correlate with that, Garrett. And so I'm excited to like actually do some data tracking on that when we go through this. But regardless of whether you join us for that, if you think about your health now, what little changes have you been telling yourself that you can make? Because we're also going into the new year, Garrett. People make the New Year's resolutions. A lot of those resolutions have to do with health and fitness. What didn't work for you last year that you need to make an adjustment this year to ensure that you can follow through with those resolutions and those goals that you have? That's a question, Garrett, I think people should be asking themselves right now.
Everybody starts the new year, Matt, going like, okay, this is the year I'm going to get in shape. This is the year I'm going to go work out. And they do it for a little while. They show up to the gym memberships spike. If you go look at stats, gym memberships go through the roof at the first of the year. And then they dwindle off, and there's entire business plans that they have written just around New Year's resolutions. And so, a big part of this that I look at is, Matt, is a lot of what is my mindset around it. And you talked about mindset of getting sick, and you said, when people fly on airplanes, there's a lot of people that will have that thing of like, oh man, when I fly on an airplane, I get sick. Or man, you're locked into this cabin with all these people and like all these germs are being shared. And there's a lot actually research on it that the filtration systems on airplanes are absolutely insane. I go back to when not me, but I remember my parents used to be able to smoke on an airplane. Like there are some powerful filtration systems. If they can let people smoke on airplanes and everybody can still somewhat breathe normally, don't worry, I don't have to do that anymore. But you look at like the difference of nowadays when you get onto an airplane and they hand you a wet wipe or a sanitized napkin that you can rub everything down and clean everything up so that you're like, all right, we're good. I've eliminated all the germs off my environment right now and what that looks like. And I was thinking about the psychology that it plays into all of this about protecting yourself from germs. I'm in this germ environment. These germs have the potential now of being on me. And my mindset has always been when they hand me the little, square alcohol swab is I'm good. My internal thought is I'm good. I don't need it. My immune system's strong enough and I'm healthy and whatever's on this plane is not going to affect me. I'm good. Thank you though. You can keep it. Save it for somebody else who feels like they need it. That is my mental self-talk when I get onto an airplane. I don't get sick when I travel. I don't.
Yeah.
And so I think it's one of those things that, there's a lot of people when they get sick, their brain goes, oh, great, this just screwed up my entire week. You know what? I got this little fever. I don't feel good. I got a sniffle. Well, there goes another week that I'm not going to be able to do what I need to do. Where some self-talk, where mine is, I got a little sniffle and my brain goes, you know what? I got such a great immune system. It's going to knock this thing out super fast. All I need is one good night's sleep and we're good to go. And I'm going to be back to myself. A lot of this is self-talk and your belief system.
Well, and we need to look at the things that we identify with health. Oh, I get sick when I travel, or yeah, I got this old injury, whatever. Those are symptoms of a problem that probably can be solved with some changes in how you manage nutrition, your movement, or your mindset. On the mindset piece, there's a study and multiple studies that probably have been done. I mean, if environment really impacts us that much, oh yeah, whenever I travel, because the plane, we're in close quarters, we get sick. Why do doctors who work in hospitals, the place where there's the most concentration of sick people anywhere, how come they don't get sick at a higher rate than everybody else?
It's not the little piece of paper. that they have in the mask. Like,
Yeah, I don't think it's because they have a doctorate. In fact, not only that, they're probably some of the most stressed out professionals there are. So in terms of like their stressors also higher, and there's germs, but they don't get sick. Oh wait, maybe it's because they don't believe that when they step in there, they're going to get sick because it's their profession. Why do pilots not get sick? Why do the stewardesses not get sick? Because their mindset isn't, oh my gosh, I'm stepping onto this plane. And I've noticed that it's the people who rarely travel who have that thought process. I rarely travel. I don't carry that. It's in fact, whenever I travel, and this isn't to talk me up a little bit, I usually have some of the most productive weeks that I have. Part of it's probably because I get to have this really quiet alone time on an airplane where I get to think and all that kind of stuff. And that also forces me to, look forward to that experience. So I'm not thinking about the health side.
Yep.
Now, from a physical perspective though, too, if we look at some of these things that come up, take those as symptoms and say, hey, what can I change? Because like, okay, I'm getting ready to travel. I know that like that is going to expose me to other stressors. Maybe I should kick up my antioxidant intake leading up to the week of travel. Maybe I want to make sure I'm getting really, really good sleep leading up to the week of travel because I'm going to be moving some time zones and stuff. And you can prepare your health as well for some of these adjustments. If you can really identify, hey, these are stressors and they usually create this on me. Now I can actually go and resolve that with making sure I have the right meals and everything in place leading up so that my body is ready, my immune system is ready. These are the little things for our health that impact how we operate.
We have a lot of control over our immune system and setting ourselves up for success. And I think that like all this comes back to, when we talk about doing this event that we're talking about, like there is a big chunk of it that is mindset type coaching around your health. There's a big part of looking at all of your vitals and your blood and looking at, okay, what are we missing? What could we be improving upon in here that will raise your immune system, raise your health, make your body run at a higher level? There are so many factors. And and I get it. There's a lot of people listening to this that they may have factors that compromise their immune system and they need to be careful about it and in those environments. And I don't want to take that away.
Of course.
But I think that where Matt and I are really at is that we've watched this enough times where people can set all the best goals they can set for themselves. They can look at the future and say, I've got all these big aspirations and all these dreams, but they keep getting taken out by little ailments. It's not the big ailments. The big ailments, very rarely do we ever see. It's like, oh man, like they got taken out. And these things are never for the future. It's usually all the little ailments that make them keep these big goals out there, but these little things that just keep taking their feet out from underneath them and just kind of taking them out, tripping them here, tripping them there, tripping them here. And it's like, oh my gosh, like,
It's interesting with the big ailments too, like chronic, like type 1 diabetes, celiac disease, other things that are kind of big things that people kind of don't have a choice to carry them is how they were made. Allergies, they tend to actually have better health performance. And this is again, anecdotal because I think it's because they are paying so close attention to what is impacting their health. Whereas it's the soft stuff where it's like, yeah, I get sick every now and then, or I just kind of have this pain whenever I do this kind of thing where you don't pay enough attention to it. So you don't realize the level of impact that it actually has, because that little twinge in your back might be connected to your knee, which now then is connected to the shoulder pain, which could be connected to the fact that we're carrying an extra 20 pounds that we may not want to be carrying in the wrong places. And when you study that for yourself, and this is why we are big proponents of part of your morning routine should be active movement, moving your body every day. Because if you keep your body in shape, it's going to allow your mind to be in proper shape so that you can run your business properly. Because I've seen it with agents where if they're not taking care of their health, and I know we've said this, but like going on bed rest and like, gosh, I'm out for 2 weeks. And all of a sudden that year is just all the effort put into that year. We're now 2 weeks behind. Like, yeah, we have an okay year, but man, what if that year was exceptional? Yep. Right? Or they're just moving a little bit slower for years. And here's the other thing. And this is why I say the direction of the health is important, because let's just say you've put on some extra weight and no judgment. It's usually taken years to put that on. It's not going to come off in a day. but we start moving it in the right direction, your energy is going to shift. Your belief system is going to shift where you're actually going to be able to conquer that weight. You're going to be able to release that weight. Maybe it'll be faster, maybe it'll be the same amount of time, but your energy during that process is going to be elevated, and you're going to see your business probably track ahead of where you are in your health because of how you're focused on it and the intention that you're putting in on it. And so it's okay if you're in a place where you're like, hey, I need to take control of this. It's your decision of taking it control that'll start that transformation for you a lot faster than you think.
Well, and it's interesting as I look back at people that I've watched that have had themselves completely blindsided by something major. I have two gentlemen that I've coached. One I still coach, one I haven't coached for a long time, but in their like late 30s, early 40s, had a heart attack, and it like one was out shoveling snow in the driveway, and then all of a sudden was like I've got a major problem going on. And it's interesting is like that changed his health trajectory immediately. Like they're both still alive. They are thriving now in life. And they all of a sudden went, look, I realized all these little things I was doing that caused this to happen. One more so than the other. One was just like, oh my gosh, like I just need to take really good care of myself because I have some little ailments here and there. It's almost, in watching people go through that, Matt, those moments of major calls to the plate to be like, look, you need to adjust now or you may not be here, compared to these little health ailments that just kind of come along and we deal with. I never wish the big ones on anybody, but it is interesting how those are the ones that cause the change to happen fast. These other ones you can just carry with you for years and years and years and years and years and years. And all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how much this was affecting me. Or they just kind of go like, this is just who I am.
Yeah.
No, it never got bad enough to make a big change. It never got bad enough to really adjust. It never got bad enough to go and have my knee looked at and say, what can I do differently here? Until it was just kind of this place of like, oh, I'm just the guy with the bad knee. Like, that's just who I am. I'm the guy that has the bad shoulder. Yeah, I can't throw a football anymore. Used to be able to, can't anymore. And we just kind of hang on to these ailments. And I think that's the most devastating stuff. And I think for a lot of us, and this is why we want to go down this health journey and potentially go down this route, is that this is the little things that you may not even realize that you're dealing with every single day, that when you can have them called out and you can be like, oh, that's something we can actually fix. That's something we can actually work on easily. And now I've got a reason to work on it and to fix it. Like, could be the thing that's maybe holding you back from really being the best you could be.
Yeah. Well, not only that, the risk factor, right? Because, okay, you could be experiencing some minor health issues, or maybe you're just not in tip-top shape, but it's not really impacting you. And maybe it won't ever impact you. But the risk of it, going back to the pandemic, I mean, COVID-19 adversely affected people who were overweight tenfold than people who weren't, right? And so just that risk of something coming in and impacting you, which can totally, that builds up to a big thing. It can impact your business, can impact your family. It can impact your financial future. And so that's the other side of this. Let's also get in better shape, take care of ourselves now, invest in our health now so that we don't have to pay for it later on, because we see that happen with a lot of people as well. You know, retirement gets expensive if we're not taking care of our health. Big businesses, Garrett, have key man life insurance, right? They put insurance on their executive team because if something takes them out from, even if it's just a health thing and they're not like, hopefully not gone from this earth, God forbid. But if they're just like, oh, they can't perform, there's different policies for that too that they take out, because like, hey, we need these people to perform. When you're running your own business, very rarely do we think about having that kind of insurance. It's also not inexpensive if you're just insuring yourself. So the best insurance you can have is to put yourself in better health to reduce the risk of something like a heart attack coming in. It doesn't mean that you're going to eliminate it, right? Yep. Particularly with cardiovascular issues, is the number one killer in the country. But if we can reduce that risk, man, doesn't your business deserve that? Every other business out there runs risk analysis and does all these measurements and puts things in place to make sure that they can mitigate risk as much as possible. We should be doing that for ourselves by taking control of our health.
So I think in kind of summarizing this, Matt, is that, we watch this happen so much in people's businesses and life where this becomes a factor. It is something we have direct control over. It is also one of those things that you're usually in the game by yourself. So it doesn't take very much to all of a sudden have that excuse be just good enough about why we're not going to go to the gym, why we're not going to, buy those better groceries on the way home. And it's easier to have the burger that we can get at the fast food. Like, those little excuses that start to come in so easily, and we can justify them so easily in the moment, where it's like that burger was, just once this week. I haven't had one, so far this year, and we're 2 weeks into the year. That's pretty good for me. I'll have a burger. Well, then it turns into the next day or the next day. And then all of a sudden you're back into this old habit that you were in again. And that's the power that Matt and I were looking at, is like, well, what if we had a group that had kind of decided, let's all go into this as a group together. It's not going to be for everybody, and we're not telling everybody who's in our current group and in our current coaching program that, hey, you're coming along with us. Yeah. Only if they want to. And if we have enough people, Matt and I have a belief that the ones that are in there will see a higher return in their business. And I think it's interesting that if we can prove this, if we can really look at this and show this, the ones that say, I would love to sign up for that health coaching program, but it's expensive, I bet you we will find that it pays for itself. I bet you will find that the increase in your business completely paid for the investment of taking care of yourself, and you get a better long-term future.
Yeah, you're going to reduce your back-end costs and enhance your lifestyle too. Which is, I think, a huge benefit. So I'll leave everybody, Garrett, with a challenge. Whether you decide to join us on this, which we hope you do, again, email us hello@lifeattentenths.com, or reach out to Garrett and I individually. You can DM us on Instagram, or email us. I mean, you can find our contact information pretty easily. But if you even if you decide, hey, that's not for me, I challenge you to take control of your health in this new year. Find a way to commit to those goals that you have in a way where the goal creates a lifestyle for you, a habit program, different ways versus just saying, here's a goal, I'm just going to try to go at it 110%. Give yourself a system so that you can mitigate your health risk as you go on, because your business will thank you, your family will thank you, you will thank you, because you're going to feel so much better. You're going to feel great. It's going to impact your mood. It's going to increase your serotonin. It's going to just make everything so much better. Doesn't mean that you're not going to have down days. Doesn't mean that you're going to not have struggles. Doesn't mean you're not going to get sick, of course. But if you mitigate that risk and take better control, you're going to just feel better overall. And that year, 2025, is going to look a whole lot brighter when you look back on it. Hopefully it looks like a 10/10ths year, Garrett. That's what my hope is for everybody, that you have a 10/10ths year in 2025, which will be awesome.
That's what we all hope for, man. So, Matt, this is great. I'm happy we got to go down this route today. And, for any of you, as we've talked about out there looking for, we still have business planning available to you. And I know Matt was probably going to mention this, but I think, if you are looking for a business plan, come check it out inside the 11 Circle at LifeAtTenTenths. We got our 7-day free trial. And I know there's still some of you listening going, oh, darn it, I still need to do my business plan. It's for you. It's waiting for you. It's right inside of our community.
That's the beauty of it. It's not like, oh, I missed the business planning. Nope, it's always there. And that's our belief system too with business plans is, it's not like you have to do it in December or November and it be ready for if it's March and you're listening to this, get in there and build it, because it doesn't matter what time of year it is. Having a plan at any point is going to help you be successful. The calendar year doesn't necessarily matter with that. So go to lifeattentenths.com, join the 11 Circle with that 7-day free trial, and have a very Merry Christmas. I think I just realized that this episode is, I think, coming out to you all on December 23rd. So have a very Merry Christmas this week, and appreciate you all for tuning in and joining us for this podcast. We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you, everybody. Merry Christmas.